What's up everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how to compile pknx, dump your romfs and exefs of your game, as well as how to randomize Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm going to go ahead and just assume that you already know how to homebrew your console or already have a console homebrewed, but just in case you might be someone who's interested in homebrewing for playing randomized games, I'm gonna have Kosmos here linked in the description. Now Kosmos also does have some really good tools that it comes with that you can see down here. That's gonna be pretty convenient for what we're gonna be doing. One couple such things is going to be Lockpick, so you can get your keys. Now I can't verify if you necessarily need to have your keys, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and have a dump of your keys anyways. But the main tool that you need is going to be nxdumptool. I will also have the GitHub release page for Lockpick and for nxdumptool. I'm not gonna go through like how to dump your keys. It's pretty simple. I would just recommend going and looking up a guide on how to dump your keys, but if you do have any questions, feel free to ask and I will answer or try and help along the way if you need any help with that. The same thing for getting nxdumptool set up. It's pretty simple. You just download the NRO and go to your, plug in your SD card, go to your Switch folder and just drop the NRO file there. The main thing here is going to be that we're going to need the link for the GitHub page to pknx. Now for compiling pknx, especially if you're on Windows, and we're going to be using Visual Studios 2019, so just download it and install it. And that's pretty much gonna be it. I don't recall if there's any special things that you need with Visual Studios, but if there is, I'm gonna tell all that in the description below, and I'm also gonna give a separate link to a specific page that I from Game Banana that I learned how to do this with compiling your own pknx. It was pretty informative. I'll have that link down below in the description. But for that, we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna switch over to my console. Alright, so once we're on the console, you're gonna go into your homebrew page, however you do that, and you're gonna scroll over until you get to nxdumptool, and we're gonna open this up. Now in nxdumptool, you'll have a couple different options that you can go through. You can do a game cart dump or an SDEMMC dump. The game cart dump is going to be pretty simple for those of you who have a game cart of Sword or Shield. What you're going to do is you're going to come down here to exefs options or romfs options, and you're going to just come down here to use update, and you're just going to scroll over to the update that you have, and then just scroll back up and hit exefs option, section data dump, and click on that. Same thing for romfs. You're just going to scroll down, hit select the update, come back up to romfs section data dump, and click that. But the main thing is for those of you who have the game installed on your SD or onto your system memory, and you're just going to come to dump installed SD card eMMC content, select that. You're going to scroll down to the game in question. For me, that's going to be Pokemon Sword. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to come to exefs options. That's going to be the first thing I'll do. I'll come down to use data, scroll over to the update file, and let that be selected. I'm going to come back up to exefs section data dump, and I'm going to run this. Alright, now that that's done, press any button to continue. And back out, go to romfs options. Alright, same thing. We're going to come down to use update DLC, scroll over, have the update selected. Now we're going to scroll back up to romfs section data dump. Now I'm not going to go ahead and select this one because I've already got a dump of it, and this is going to take you a while, so just be patient. Don't let your console die on you. Make sure it's plugged in. Just give it time. Wait a minute. Wait a bit for it to be done. Once it's done, it'll give you the same option to press any button to continue. And once you're done, you can back out and switch. Take your SD card out and plug it into your computer. Alright, once you have the SD into your computer, you can go ahead and open up your SD folder. Once you're in here, you're going to go over to the switch folder, then the nxdumptool folder. Now in this folder, you're going to have two different folders to look at, the exefs and the romfs folder. We're going to go ahead and open one up, and you're going to see a file something similar to this, and if you're pulling the update, it'll give you a title number that's similar but not exact to the title of the title game per se, but it'll give you the notation that it does have the update. But we're just gonna come into this for a moment. Now what you're gonna want to do is go ahead and create a folder and give it the name of your game in question. And once you have that created, open it up and go ahead and create a exefs folder and a romfs folder. Once you have that, open up the exefs folder, and what you're going to do is you're going to come back to the one on your SD card, and you're just going to copy these over. Once you have those copied over, you're going to back out and go into the romfs. You're going to come back over to this one. I'm going to go to romfs, open up this one as well, and then you're going to take the bins and system resource folders, and you're just going to copy those over as well. And once everything's transferred, you are done there, and you're pretty much ready to go for the next step, which is going to be compiling pknx. Alright, so for compiling pknx, once you have Visual Studios and anything extra that's going to be necessarily installed, first things first is we're going to open up Visual Studios, come to this screen, we're going to click on clone or check out code. Now here we're going to need the link. So this is why I said we're going to need the pknx link. So we're just going to copy that, come back in here, and we're going to Control V and paste our link and click clone. Alright, so once that's done, we're going to come over here on the sidebar. We're going to look for pknx.sln. We're going to double select this. This is going to be particularly a step for those that's running on Windows 10. Now, from what I understand, if you're on like Windows 7 or 8 for whatever given reason, you can just go ahead and build it outright. But from my understanding, Windows 10 users need to follow this step. Once you have this open, we're going to go to Tools and down to NuGet Package Manager, and we're going to select Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. Alright, so once this is open, we're going to select Costura.Fody. Come over to this open up window, and we're going to go ahead and select on project to highlight everything. Now it says we have 4.1.0 installed, and the latest stable version is 4.1.0. Now you can go ahead and click install, or you can do it this way. Click uninstall. This window opens up, just select OK. Now that it's missing, we're going to go to Browse and search for coaster.fody and my apparent misspelling. But we're going to highlight that again. Now all of these are selected, and it gives us the option to install it. Give this a moment. Once you click install, and a window will pop up. And you can read through this if you really want to. It's just preview changes, but just click OK. Let it do its business. And once it's done, we are finished, and you can come back over to the Solution Explorer window, go to Switch Views, and switch back. Now that we're back here to this window, we can highlight pknx.sln, right click, and click Build. Alright, so once the build is succeeded, you can actually go ahead and close this out. Now to find your compiled pknx, you're just going to go into your file explorer, go to users, username, source, repos, pknx, winforms, bin, debug, and there you go. It's right there. Alright, so once you have a pknx compiled, you can do like I have, and you can actually put it in a folder to it. Put these files in a folder itself, listed as pknx if you want, or you could just leave them in the repos file. It doesn't really matter, but open up pknx. Now, first thing you'll have to do, if you haven't done this before, is just click File, Open, look for wherever you have those romfs and exefs files at, and select and highlight the folder itself containing the exefs and romfs, and click OK. And now that we're here, what we'll do is check out all the options that we have. First thing is we have some common stuff. These are just some basic descriptions. For whatever reason, you can randomize those if you really want to, or you could edit them if you really want to. Same thing for script. You can randomize and edit script lines if you really want to. Then we have the trainer editor. This is gonna be for like editing all the trainers that you're gonna face against. Randomizer options, there's actually gonna be quite a few options through all of these. I would just read them over, check out each option that's going to be there, and make sure that you read them carefully and select options that you want. Some things like, for example, random trainer class, keeping this to true requires, prefers that you skip special classes true. That way you don't cause crashes. You can even force double battles if you really want to. It's all up to you on how you want to do things. Just read everything careful and make sure that you select true or false or edit values however you feel like it. One thing that's actually pretty cool about how things are now is you can actually Gigantamax swap. So say you're doing a gym battle, and normally speaking, like with Milo, the third Pokemon is going to be the Pokemon that Gigantamaxes. But now with doing this, what you've actually done is you've set it up to where they can have a max of 6 Pokemon, but you don't necessarily want that third one to be the Gigantamax. Well, if you set Gigantamax swap to true, it'll change it around so any given Pokemon at random in the party could be the Gigantamax. You can edit stats like Dynamax max level, true, max IVs, true, random ability, shiny chance for trainer Pokemon. Species, you can select what generations you want them to have. There's pretty much no reason to put any of them as false, unless you just for some reason want to exclude any generations. You can have it set to where like any added or switched Pokemon or randomized Pokemon has similar base stat totals. I leave that as false, just so I don't have any limitations per se. You can allow for event Pokemon, experience groups, similar experience groups if you want to. I leave that false. You can allow for legendaries, Shedinja, similar typing, moves. You can read all this and figure it all out, but once you're done, you're gonna hit randomize. Sometimes it might freeze up and not respond, but it's a thing. Just give it a moment and it'll pop back up and start working again like it is here. And you can see everything is now randomized. And once you're done here, just click save. Anything that actually gives you the option to click save, make sure that you click save. Otherwise, it's not going to save the edit in this session. Now here for Pokemon, we have personal, learn set, evolve, and then enhancements. Okay, so we're gonna look at enhancements because this is where all of our settings are. Same thing as before, you can read all the descriptions, figure out what everything is, and set it all up to how you want it to be. Now, you can even modify experience, modify the experience gains if you want to, but once you have everything done and set how you want them to be, just click randomize. Now for learn, learn of course is going to be the moves that it can learn. Should be TMs included, so well, maybe TMs included, maybe. But anyway, so what I like to do is I like to expand the move pool. And when you expand the move pool, it allows for more moves to be learned. And then once I have everything set to how I want it, I just click randomize. And then now moves are randomized, and it looks like even TMs are randomized some. And that's gonna be it. Now, evolution is going to be another really interesting one, because it's going to completely randomize all the evolutions. So Bulbasaur may not even evolve into Ivysaur, it may evolve into Reshiram or something. It makes for a very interesting playthrough. But also pretty difficult, especially if you have particular Pokemon that you like to play with, because once they evolve, you never know what you're gonna get. But once you're done, you can hit save. Now, wild encounters is next. Now, in wild encounters, you have all the different locations. You also have all the different weather effects, shaking trees and fishing. But we're gonna look at randomization. So in randomization, you can fill all empty slots to make sure any empty slots, such as all this, for example, is going to be filled up with something. And then you can multiply Pokemon levels by a certain percent. I like to just bump things up to 1.20 just to make things a little bit more difficult. Don't go too terribly much when editing Pokemon levels for wild encounters and trainer encounters, because you might do a little bit too much, and next thing you know, your very first wild encounter is a level 100 Pokemon. But in any case, you can select what generations you want to have involved. You can worry about the base stat totals, events, experience groups, legends, Shedinja, types, type equivalences or similarities. Worry about all that however you feel like it, and once you're done, just select randomize all species, and now you come back and look, and everything is filled up and completely randomized. And once you're, if for whatever reason you don't like something, you can actually change it. Certain ones, like you can actually change the form if you really want to. But once you're done, just hit save. Now, a new thing to pknx is going to be the raid values. Give me just a moment. Alright, so raid encounters. I'm really not familiar with this, but there's like game versions. Every raid encounter is going to be separated between sword and shield, and each one is going to have a table ID. Now, I'm not really sure how that is supposed to be edited, but whatever. Hopefully at some point in time there's going to be a more in-depth way to actually edit the raid encounters, but we'll see as time progresses. Another thing is going to be static and gift, as well as trade. These are going to be very similar to each other, but not quite the same. Trade, of course, is going to be anything that you get from trading with characters or NPCs in the game. Gift is going to be anything that's like given to you, such as your starters, and your starters are actually going to be located at gift encounters 1, 4, and 5. There's also like the Pikachu and Eevee that you can get, which is going to be encounters 11 and 12 for gifts. Now with that, you can change things like what kind of Pokeball they're in. Can it Gigantamax? Be careful with that, because something might not be able to Gigantamax, and it can cause problems if you tell it that it can't Gigantamax when it can't. Other things that I would really worry about doing is adjusting IVs, as well as maybe you want to adjust what level it starts out on. You can change its nature. You can actually even tell it to not be shiny locked. You can even change its species to whichever one you want. So maybe you want to start out with a Pikachu, or maybe you want to start out with a Raichu as a possibility. That's going to be there. But once you're done with any of your edits, just go ahead and hit save. Static, you have a little bit more to do with in static because you can adjust gender. Be careful, especially based upon which species it is. Of course, you can remove shiny lock, change its nature, edit what moves they have, edit the level, IVs, EVs, what Dynamax level they are, which form they are if they do have an alternative form, which ability they have. There's a lot with static encounters. Now, I'm not entirely sure exactly what all these static encounters are, but I don't know, if you do a little bit of research to it and figure out species to encounter and just know the game inside and out, you might be able to figure that out. But once you're all done here, just click save. Same thing for trade. You can adjust a little bit more things like whatever argument is, form, ability, Dynamax level, their feelings towards you, IVs, what held item they have, what moves they can relearn, based upon the ID, or the hex ID or whatever of that particular move, original trainer number, I guess, whatever, which species, the trainer ID of the original trainer. I'm gonna assume that this is like, if you set that to 1, that means you're the original trainer, but it's conflicting with the trainer ID if that's not your trainer ID. But just check it all out, look over it all, and see if there's anything you want to feel like messing with. Again, be a little bit careful about messing with certain things that might cause problems that could lead to crashes, which is not a pleasant thing to be trying to work out on, adjusting and figuring out exactly what you did that is causing a crash. But once you're done, hit save. Now, once everything that you're editing is completed, you can go ahead and X out. That way you can confirm and finalize any edits that you've made. And now we're gonna go back to, if it'll open, now we're gonna go back to wherever our exefs and romfs folders are. And now pknx will have generated a new folder with the game title as the name of the folder. So we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna come back over to our SD card. For me, I'm using Atmosphere. For those of you on SXOS, it might be a little bit different, but I believe it's in the SXOS folder. But open up Atmosphere, and we're going to open up Contents. I don't know if it's changed yet for SXOS. It might be Contents, or it might still be Titles. But right now for Atmosphere, with the latest, with the newer update, it's Contents, where it used to be Titles. So if you still have Titles and you have updated your Atmosphere or Kosmos, and you're having troubles with mods not loading, it might be because you're still putting everything in a Titles folder and you need it to be Contents. So if you don't already have it, go ahead and make the Contents folder, or rename your Titles to Contents if your Atmosphere is updated. But once you have contents open, you're just gonna drag and drop everything over. So if you have anything and you're gonna update your files because you want a different randomization, just drag and drop, replace if it asks. If not, skip, whatever the case. Normally speaking, if you haven't done this before, it's not even gonna ask you to replace or skip. It'll just copy everything over. But once you have all that done, you are pretty much good to go, and you can put your SD card back in your Switch and boot up into your custom firmware. Alright, once you're back on your Switch, you can go ahead and load into your game. Now to go ahead and test out the randomizer. And here we go. Not too bad. Let's keep taking a look around and see what else we can find. Yeah. Oh, hello. Go ahead and run into you. Alright, so now that that's good, we can actually find a Necrozma in the wild. Well, how about that? So, anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to place it down below in the comments. I will also give my Discord link, so if you want to come over to my Discord and ask questions or just chat or whatever, you can feel free to do so. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed and have a good day. Have fun.